You know that the Tanya was written originally in pamphlets as answers to questions that people would ask when they come to Yechidus. And basically they were questions in Avodas Hashem. So what was going on in those days? What does it mean that people have questions in Avodas Hashem? Either you know, so you're Aved Hashem, or you don't know. If you don't know, it doesn't bother you. So what is this condition, this matzav where you don't know, you have to ask, but you want to know? There's something very special about that. People who don't know and feel a need to find out. It's a very impressive Edelkeit. So we were just in Israel, speaking to different schools, yeshivas, whatever, and you could actually see it. There are people who don't know what Avodas Hashem means, but they know that they need it, and they want it, and they're asking, and they know vaguely that somehow the answer is in Tanya. These are people who have no idea what Tanya is, but they know that the answer is there, which is amazing. Probably the effect of being the 200th year of the Alter Rebbe, that Tanya is suddenly becoming indispensable. So what does it mean? What is the question of how do you go about Avodas Hashem? You pick up the Shulchan Aruch and you do what it says. Why isn't that good enough? And here we're talking to about people who actually did that. They became Baalei Tshuva, or they're still frum even though their family is frum. Got that? Which is a bigger miracle than a Baal Tshuva. And they're frum. They're doing. So what are they looking for? And it's not like somebody Farbrengen with them and told them that they were missing something. On their own, somehow, instinctively, they feel there's something that they're not getting. There's something that they're missing. What do they think they're missing? Now, some people feel they're missing a cheshek. They just don't want to do what they're doing. So they're being frum, but they don't like it. So they're looking for something to make them enjoy it more so that they'll stick around. That's not what we're talking about. These people are not desperate. They have no problem with what they're doing. And yet they feel that there's something much more that they should have and that they're not getting. So it's a very interesting thing. If you've read the Lange Brief, the letter from the Frierdiker Rebbe to his daughter, about Reb Mordechai, who went to be Makar of his friend, who was a Porish. You know what I'm talking about?
Where is it?
Now it's in the Igris. Chelik Dalid? Who is it? Huh? Gimel? It's a long 60-page letter that the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote to the Rebbetzin when the Frierdiker Rebbe was in Eretz Yisrael, or traveling to Eretz Yisrael. And it's a long story about a chassid of the Baal Shem Tov, who remembered that he had a chaver when he was a Masnagid, Reb Chaim, and he doesn't know what happened to him, and he decided that he has to go find him and tell him about the Baal Shem Tov and the new Derech and Aveda and so on. So that's the long story of how he finds him and how he's Makar of him and the condition that he finds him in and how he heals him and makes a mensch out of him. So part of the story is that staying in that shtetl where his chaver Reb Chaim was because it would take a long time to make a mensch out of him. So while he was staying there, the people of the shtetl hired him as their Magid. So the Rebbe writes how Reb Mordechai was so impressed and so touched by the Chevra who came early in the morning to say Tehillim. The sincerity, the emotion that they put into the Tehillim. Sometimes they were ecstatic and thankful, and sometimes they were crying and apologetic. It was full of emotion, which suggested that they knew what the Tehillim meant, even though they were very simple. And he envied them. And yet at the same time, it says, he felt very bad for them. He pitied them. Because whatever they did without chayus. There was no chayus, it was dead. He doesn't explain it there in the letter. Obviously the Rebbetzin didn't need an explanation. But what does this mean? If you're doing something with a lot of emotion, how can that be dead? Isn't that chayus? So he describes at length the different emotions that they felt and expressed when they were saying the Tehillim. And at the same time he says, so lifeless, no chayus. What does that mean? You can have a lot of emotions and not have chayus? So somebody who's very emotional and excited and loud and enthusiastic has no chayus? Or could have no chayus? There's a huge difference between an enthusiastic misnagid and a chassid. Everybody can be enthusiastic. In fact, some people are just enthusiastic by nature about nothing. That's just their nature. Whatever they do enthusiastically. They love life, they love doing things, so whatever they do it with enthusiasm. Is that called chayus? In the Chassidish language, chayus doesn't mean you're excited. Chayus means the thing you're doing has a life, and you're catching that life. You're catching that chayus. In other words, it's not your energy, it's the energy of what you're doing. That's like the difference between you learn and you come away with instruction. You learned how to do a certain mitzvah, now you know how to do it. You know exactly where your tefillin should be and where the kesher should be and where the hairline is and so on. You know, now you know how to do it. So what did you get from the learning? Instruction. Sometimes you learn something and you come away enthusiastic about the intelligence, not the practical how-to. You understood something. It was a difficult svara, it's a deep idea, and you got it. You figured it out. That's very exciting. Sometimes you learn something and the excitement is not because you know how to do things, not because you figured out the idea, but because the idea is a living thing. The idea is a godly idea, and you feel the godliness. So the chayus that you have is not your enthusiasm. It's the chayus of the mitzvah, it's the chayus of the subject of Kedusha. I don't know how to say it in simple words. When you feel absolutely privileged to be doing what you're doing. That's a very different kind of enthusiasm. So here these people were very, very intense in their experience of the ideas of Rachmanis, that God should have Rachmanis on them because they're working so hard and they need the refuah, whatever it is. Or the simcha of being alive, of having whatever health they do have. They were grateful, they were appreciative, they were guilty of their failures. There was a lot of emotion going on. That's not chayus. Chayus means the privilege of being able to do what you're doing gives you energy. So it's not like we usually think. Enthusiasm means put your energy into the mitzvah. Like if you're davening, shakel hard. That'll make the davening better. It's not the davening that's exciting. You're excited about davening. You're not feeling the excitement of davening. You see what I'm saying? When do you feel the excitement of the davening? At least on a simple level. When you can't get over the fact that you're allowed to daven. That you can daven. Or that you can do mitzvahs. Or that you can learn chassidus, you can understand godliness. So the chayus is coming from the thing, not from you. It's giving you chayus, not you're trying to put chayus into it. Does this make any sense? It's similar to how you learn. There are people who sit down to learn with a very arrogant attitude. Give me the Gemara. I'll tell you what it means. I'll explain it.
Okay.
That's the attitude. I understand stuff. You show me the Gemara, I'll figure it out. Or even show me a complicated instructions to putting together a machine. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. That may be an effective way to learn, but it's not a Chassidish way to learn. A Chassidish way to learn is, give me the Gemara, and I will learn it so that it can tell me something. Not that I can explain it. It will tell me something if I listen. So learning Torah is not like figuring out a project, discovering a new thing in medicine or in science. Here you want the Torah to tell you something. And when the Torah tells you something and you get it, that's chayus. But if you figure out the Gemara and you're so excited, that's emotion. It's not chayus. Yes? Makes sense? What is the difference? The energy you put into a mitzvah, the energy you put into learning, that's human. It's your energy. Some people like to play games, and some people like to read books. The ones who play games do it with a lot of enthusiasm, and the ones who like to learn or read do that with a lot of enthusiasm. But it's your energy, it's human. When you're doing a mitzvah or learning Torah, and particularly when you're learning Chassidus, you don't want to do something human. You want to do something godly, something infinite, something higher. How do you do that? The answer is you can't do that. It does that to you if you have the Edelkeit, if you're a Makabel, if you're receptive, then it will give you chayus. So, you know that famous picture of Reb Mendel Yud Shevat Farbrengen? I don't know where I would find it right now, but his eyes are so alive, he's so excited about whatever it is he's saying, but it's real chayas. It's not that he got enthusiastic in his conversation. The subject that he was discussing was alive in him, and you can see it in his eyes. The same thing is true also with his kashrus. Yud Shevat is the Rosh Hashanah for his kashrus for us. It's our Rosh Hashanah for his kashrus. But you got to be really careful. His kashrus is a great, important topic, subject, but mekusha is not such a kosher word. You have to have his kashrus. There's no really such thing as a mekusha. Somebody came to Farbrengen from Russia, in Montreal, when I was there, and somebody said to him, "Are you a menagin?" He says, "Ich sing, ich bin nicht menagin." You want me to sing? I'll sing. I'm not a singer. I sing. You're supposed to have his kashrus. No one asked you to be a mekusha. Just like you have to learn Torah. Nobody said you should be a Talmid Chacham. We don't give titles like that. We don't think of it in those terms. Are you a Talmid Chacham? I learn. Yeah, but are you a Talmid Chacham? It's too arrogant. It's too self-conscious. It's too much focus on self. Are you a tzaddik? What I am is not the issue. We have something very holy. We have something very good. You do it. So what are you? Chassid doesn't think in those. So we make fun of people who have a goal to become a Rosh Hashiva, to become a Gaon, to become a Gadol, to become a Talmid Chacham. Not nice. But it's okay to have a goal to become a mekusha. And just like the people who think that they're Talmidei Chachamim have this little competition going on as to who is the bigger Talmid Chacham, and who are you to think you're a Talmid Chacham? Can the same thing happen with mekusha? Oh, you're a mekusha? Compared to me, I'm a bigger mekusha. So it's the same idea. Are you excited that you're a mekusha, or does his kashrus give you excitement? Is it real chayas, or is it just your emotions? They're not the same thing. Real chayas is edel, and emotions can be very human, even grubby. Can be nasty.